Good morning, Florida lacrosse fans. Tuesday morning, October 11th. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Florida Lacrosse News. Lee Roggenberg, your host. Let's get our housekeeping out of the way first. Back to Cafe Bustelo today. Oh, love that stuff. Give it a shot. It's worth it. Okay, remember, if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. Encourage others to do so too. Like the video if you do so. Like the video even if you don't. Follow us on Twitter at FloridaLX, at Facebook at FLA, LAX, and EWS. Don't forget to check out our putrid Instagram account if you so want to do so. Sooner or later, we'll get up and running. Contact us for marketing and advertising opportunities. We mentioned Legendary Sports Group has joined us last time. You should see the ads shortly, and we look forward to publicizing their events. It was a relatively light day for news. Didn't have a chance to go through Inside Lacrosse's commitments yesterday, but we did get the announcement. Newsome Girls 2024, Gracie Ochoa has committed to Mercer. Congratulations, Gracie, and hope to see your submission on your commitment article shortly. Don't forget, no club uniforms in the pictures. I keep having to say that, and it's even says on the questionnaire. Please, this celebrates the high school connection, the high school to the college connection. It does not celebrate your club status. So please stay with that, and I'm waiting to hear back from one person who's in the queue. We've been trying to limit it to one player upload a day, just to make sure that they get featured as much as they can. If they start to come in hot and heavy, obviously we might have to change that a little bit. But for now, we're going to try to do one per day as they come in. St. Leo's Fall Ball tournament's coming up shortly as college fall ball continues. I didn't see the results of Weber and FAU. Obviously, results in fall ball don't really matter. It's all about getting playing time, learning systems, getting freshmen accommodated to the college game, and so many other reasons. And it really doesn't matter who wins the games. Maybe as you get towards spring exhibition games, maybe the week before the season starts, that's when you start to really kind of feel whether or not a result matters. And a lot of times that they do kind of give you a good feel on that last one. Okay, those who were watching the Ravens-Bengals game Sunday night might have seen the reference made to, I think it was Lisa Harbaugh, Baltimore Ravens head coach Harbaugh's daughter, a lacrosse player at Notre Dame. Always nice to see the sport get featured on other broadcast outlets and other sports. The IWLCA, the Women's Lacrosse Coaches Association, Intercollegiate Women's Lacrosse Association, named their Service Award and President's Cup recipients for this past season. Kerry Whitaker, Associate Head Coach at the University of Pennsylvania, won the Service Award. Mike Sherbo, Associate AD at Duquesne, won the President's Cup. We'll get that press release up in the next day or two. Congratulations to all of you, to both of you who have won those awards. These are very nice awards to win. In 2022, USA Fall Classic women's roster for the October 14th to 16th weekend coming up. Exhibition games coming up. You can go to USA Lacrosse and see the roster there. I took a brief check to see if we had any Florida connections, but couldn't find any. But speaking of Florida connections, 1987 Cornell Johns Hopkins championship game popped up on my YouTube channel over the weekend. Watched a good chunk of it. It was a terrific 11-10 win by Hopkins, going the last 2 minutes to win it. I would strongly suggest, kids, if you want to get an idea of how much you benefit from equipment today, go take a look at how that game was played and what the kids had to deal with the equipment they had. Now, we were already into the plastic era. I don't think we were in the titanium era for a while yet on that. But I can tell you that the pocket technology is nowhere near what you get to use today. And it certainly made a big difference when it came to, you didn't see anyone really dodging into the middle, taking 3 hits and getting a shot off. That I can guarantee you will not find anywhere in that game, with maybe one exception. You saw a lot more passing, a lot more off ball. And you'll see some names that you recognize today. On the Hopkins side, Quinn Kesnick was a freshman goalie, had quite the performance in that game. Those of you who watch broadcasts on college, obviously familiar with Quint at this point. Dave Petramala was the star defenseman on Hopkins. This was, I believe, the year that the Gate twins made their freshman debuts at Syracuse. They lost in the playoff game, and I believe that Gary went up to Coach Simmons afterwards and said, "That's the last game we're going to lose." And I think that was true until their senior year, when the Kesnick Petramala tandem knocked them off in the championship game. So again, go back and find. And by the way, in that game, Plant head coach Todd Francis, quite a lot of playing time for Cornell. I don't know if he was the starter or the LSM, or if he was. I didn't catch the introductions. I don't think they showed the introductions at the beginning of the broadcast. And also Caitlin Wurzberger's uncle, John Wurzberger, played and scored a couple of goals for Cornell in that game. So a couple of Florida connections there. And it's always kind of nice to see, you sort of see the passage of time with this sport. This is, I've said many times before, grandfather, father, son, daughter, awful lot of, and mothers, plenty of mothers who, have played the game, passing on to their daughters too. And it's always good to see that kind of connection. So if you see Coach Francis out there, give him a shout and say that we mentioned the 1987 championship game. He played well in it, and catch a look, Plant fans, if you're out there. Okay, the most important thing for today. Yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day. We've been obviously highlighting the link between Native American culture, particularly the Haudenosaunee, and the sport. You've heard me talk before about how, to the Haudenosaunee, the sport was a gift from their creator. You've seen me hold up this book many times, Lacrosse, the Ancient Game. Jimmy Calder, Ron Fletcher, David Craig, Arnold Jacobs, Delmore Jacobs. Delmore is very influential in lacrosse circles. And I just want people to know, if you're looking for something to give your lacrosse playing kid for Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, you could do a lot worse than this. There's also a Sports Illustrated article that just came out. I was able to sort of skim it a little bit over yesterday, but I haven't had a chance to do an in-depth read of it. It specifically focuses on the issues that have popped up over the past decade, I guess it's fair to say, maybe a little bit less, between the Canadian, what happened in Canada with the attempt, kind of the Western Province. I think it was Calgary, or or Winnipeg, where there were government schools that were run in order to encourage assimilation of Native children. They would take children away and try to assimilate them into a Canadian approach to life. And one of the ways they lured them there was promising them to play lacrosse. And, I'm not going to comment too much on it more because it wouldn't be fair for me to try to talk off the top of my head on a topic that is extraordinarily difficult in order to bring the proper perspective and facts to the viewers and the listeners. So I'm going to hold off on the Sports Illustrated article. I'll link to it either tonight or tomorrow so that you can read it yourself and maybe have a little bit of background before you watch, say, Thursday's broadcast. Now, in Jim Calder's book, there's this one little piece that for Indigenous, my way of celebrating it, it's over here. I'm going to read just this part all the way down because it tells such a wonderful story about, where in Haudenosaunee culture this sport is. I think this highlights this absolutely incredibly, as well as anything. 4 warriors play a game. The oral tradition of the Haudenosaunee warriors who had made their way to the edge of the world. As they entered the sky world, which is their version of heaven, they heard the cheering crowds and found that a lacrosse game was being played. The referee was an older man. Every now and then he would call out to the players and warn them to watch their conduct. There was one player who seemed to ignore the referee and kept up the dirty play. The referee warned him 3 times to stop such play, but his warnings were ignored. Finally, as the obstinate player raced by the referee, the old man reached out and grabbed him with surprising strength. The old man then flung the player so hard that he was driven through a tree and lodged there. "Wait there for a while and think about what you have been doing," commanded the old man. "I told you not to play that way. That's not the way lacrosse is meant to be played." Slowly, the tree worked its wonder on the player. The power of the tree took away the player's anger and his need to hurt other players. It allowed his mind to realize that we are meant to respect one another. When he finally realized why his actions were wrong, he was released from the tree and resumed his place on the lacrosse field. He never played dirty again. The other 3 players learned from the lesson as well. The old man was the creator. The tree represents the medicinal powers of wood. Our lacrosse sticks were made of hickory, which is also a form of medicine. In the spiritual teachings of the Haudenosaunee oral tradition, trees have life and power, and wood cut from the tree retains some of that life and power. I can tell you that the book is filled with insight and knowledge that is not exactly the type of reading that I was used to, and I'm a big reader. Putting away, Jim has done a wonderful job in helping to bring to life this cultural impact of the sport. And I strongly suggest that you check out. I'm not doing this for money, by the way. I do not have an affiliate agreement with Jim. Full disclosure, Jim was a year ahead of me at Hobart. We did not know each other when we were there, ran in different circles. I remember him as an absolutely incredible player, Canadian national team member too. And we have gotten to know each other probably over the last half dozen years and thoroughly enjoy talking to him. But if you buy this book, I will not be receiving a penny. I'm doing this because I believe strongly and what he's written. He has written a similar book about the sport of the women's game. And he's come out now with a third book that I believe is going to be more of his experiences. I haven't had a chance to really look at it yet either. And also, he's come out with the teaching version of this. And I can tell you, I've gone through this. I am in discussions with at least one school in order to use this as a way to sort of have a Native American Day learning session with schools. I am hoping that as part of that, the school will play a high school lacrosse game against another high school during school hours so that the school students can participate at least in watching the sport and maybe also being given a talk to before the game by those familiar with this to tie it all together. Hopefully that will occur, and we'll be able to see, and I'll report to you as things go on. Okay. All right, remember again, follow us on Twitter, Florida LX, Facebook, FLA, LAX, and EWS. Website, FloridaLacrosseNews.com. Always remember, grow the game, respect the game, honor the game. This is Lee Roggenberg. We'll see you Thursday morning at 8:30. And so long from the Sunshine State.